Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our stream. It is Monday, the 5th of August, and what is happening today on the markets is very similar to the Black Monday? Black Monday of 1987. Wow. So we start right off the bat. Without further ado, I look at the markets, and this morning when I woke up and I saw what was happening on the markets, I was really, I can't say I was like I can't say I was like super shocked, but I was really shocked by the amplitude, by the size of these fluctuations that was happening on the markets. Because just last week, 2 weeks ago, we closed on Bitcoin. We closed that week on approximately 68K mark, and today, when I woke up, it was trading around 53. So in 2 weeks' time, not even 2 full weeks, just the first day of this new week, Bitcoin has lost almost 30% of its value, so close to 28% of its value, and also other assets like I'm not even talking about crypto assets, but assets like Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq index was also dropping around 3% on pre-market, maybe even more. Looks like we are dropping close to 5%, somewhere around 5%, and this seems to be the biggest loss, the biggest red day. Cannot say ever, but probably almost ever. So this red day today is even bigger than that. So the worst beginning of the week since I don't even know how many years. Wow. So I am still quite shocked, and usually when you find yourself yourself in a situation where you don't fully understand what's happening, what's going on to the market, what's going on. So the best course of action is to basically sit out and wait. So do not rush to make trades. Do not rush to make quick trades. Just wait, breathe out if it's possible. So luckily, it always helps if you are not in position. So if you are out of positions and you don't have any skin in the game, so to say, that you do not really care so much where market goes, whether it goes up and down, because markets, it's a big crash for the say 1 day on the markets. But if you look at the overall picture, we are still trading very close to all-time highs on the Nasdaq Composite Index, for example. So it's not really doesn't mean that it's the end of the world today, but yes, the markets have dropped tremendously in the past few weeks. So 2 weeks, not full weeks, but 2 weeks on Bitcoin, and also we saw some negative correlation between the Nasdaq index and Bitcoin, because the Nasdaq index, so 5 weeks, 5 red weeks in ahead, 5 consecutive red weeks in ahead. And with Bitcoin, we see another picture. We see 3 green weeks, when while Nasdaq was dropping, Bitcoin was rising. So 3 weeks, and then in 2 weeks, it dropped even more than Nasdaq in those 2 weeks. So it's a mess what's going on the markets right now, and there are many factors that are influencing this. If you read the news headlines, you're going to notice that we have problems in the Middle East. So Iran, Israel, and Lebanon. So it's very hot. So this situation there has almost reached the tipping point. Then we have news coming from Bangladesh, where we have a supposedly coup d'etat. What else is happening? We have some civil unrest in London over the weekend. Not in London, but in a few cities of the United Kingdom. and probably also in London, but mostly in other parts of the United Kingdom. So we are, and next, last week it was announced that the U.S. debt exceeded 35 trillion US dollars, which is not of course, a positive thing. There is a special website which I like to check. It's called usdebtclock.org. Of course, it's not 100% accurate, but it's very close to the reality. And we see that last week the U.S. national debt exceeded another psychological mark, which is $35 trillion. And this is quite significant because the more this national debt grows, the more the United States government will be having to will have to spend for actually paying the interest. So it's not just the problem that this national debt exceeded, that the U.S. national debt exceeded 35 trillion, but the problem is that this situation might only get worse because like all trends seem to amplify, and the more this number grows, the more interest the US government will have to pay. And given so you can see how much the US government spends for defense budget, interest on debt, that this is it, that next, I don't know, given this pace, probably next next year for sure, this amount will exceed $1 trillion in interest rate and interest on debt. And also keep in mind that the government will be borrowing even more money. So this thing seems to only be exacerbating, accelerating, and I do not, I'm not really an economist, like a serious economist, and I don't have enough data, enough reach to some very interesting data, macroeconomics data. But I mean, even by looking at this number, I can really see that the US economy is in trouble. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that it is in a catastrophic mood or catastrophic situation, but undoubtedly currently the US finds itself in a pretty dangerous situation, and no one can say for sure what's going to happen next. So guys, very interesting website. You can check it out. Oh, it's also available on applications, but I guess you can just enter this. So a lot of numbers regarding the United States. Time machine. We can go to 2028. Let's see what time machine. Wow, just in 4 years, this amount is forecasted to will have increased by 30%, and then interest on debt. Wow, $4 trillion per year. Wow. So time machine. Going back to 2020, just in 2020, this amount was equal $28 trillion. And where was interest? Interest, where are you? The interest that the government had to pay on a yearly basis, it was just $355 billion. So in just 3 years, this amount has tripled. We also have world debt clock. Wow, we have countries like Well, guys, I think we are just slightly shifting towards this macroeconomics lesson. So yes, it's very important. Also, not just the sheer amount of debt, but also the debt to GDP ratio. So public debt to GDP ratio, and in the United States, it is just slightly bigger than it is of China. What is interesting is that the out of developed countries, the most heavily debted economy in the world is Japan, and with a population of 129. So yeah, we can have relative comparison. So Japan population is exactly 3 times lower than it is of the US. and at the same time, national debt is also 3 times smaller. But public debt to GDP ratio is another story. So it means that for the Japanese government and for the Japanese Central Bank or Bank of Japan (BOJ), it is much more difficult, in fact, to actually treat and um, to balance their debt and work with it. And with the US, it's not as bad as it is with the UK. But if you look at other countries like Germany, okay, not relatively not too bad. Well, France, Italy, of course, one of the those heavily debted countries in the eurozone, and yeah, with a population of 62 million, they have national debt of okay, so it's $3.6 trillion, but the ratio is alarming. What else? Greece, of course, but Greece is a relatively small economy. And then we have countries like Norway, okay, so 49%. And okay, so in Russia it's 19%. So probably one of the lowest. Saudi Arabia 34%, and also so Spain, Greece, Italy. These countries are really in debt, and they owe a lot of money to their population and also to their external creditors as well. All right. So my take on Bitcoin would be this. Well, we are in free fall, and in one day today we dropped probably almost the same percentage as we dropped last week. So we dropped last week from 68 down to 58, so down 10,000, and today we are dropping by 9,000 so far. And it's probably just the beginning of this week, so no one can tell where we are going, where we'll see Bitcoin at the end of this week. Wow, pretty scary situation for those who are hodling or holding Bitcoin. But at the same time, I mean, if you are a long-term hodler and you plan on holding your Bitcoin savings for I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 5 years, etc., then probably there isn't much to worry about. Just don't look at the chart, at this chart that often, in order to not get upset. just try avoiding that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, seems that we are still I would say we are in a bullish trend, but of course this is quite scary. The current situation is quite scary, and we are trading very near to 50K, which is a very strong and important psychological level. So whenever we trade above it, it means that, well, Bitcoin is okay. So see, just right now we're dropping. So the battle of 50,000 for 50,000 continues, and right now Bitcoin seems to be losing it. 50K is a very strong psychological level, and keep in mind that in 15 minutes the US equities market open, and we are going to see a very dramatic opening because probably all major stocks will be opening with a gap down. I see maybe like a few, I know, some weird stocks maybe who aren't losing today, but if you look at like pretty much everything, every other stock, we are like, well, I look at my favorite website, Finviz, and everything is just red. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, all of them. So 45,000, that's euro. So the biggest drop in the recent 2-3 years, I think. Maybe in 2021 we saw something similar, but that was 2021, and many investors have already forgotten how bad it was back then. Now, all right. So going back to our charts, as I said, in 15, even less, in 16 minutes, the US markets will open and we are going to see a lot of volatility. So gold, in the morning, today in the morning, gold was relatively stable and did not really drop that much. Then by now gold is dropping by maybe 4%, probably close to 3 or 4%. No, it's 2.5% from this level, 2,450. So gold might also reverse, because when everything drops, everything's dropping, then of course gold also follows that movement. What is interesting is so VIX, the volatility index, or the index of fear. It is at its not all-time high, but probably a few years highs. Yes, it exceeded today the highs of 2023 in the middle of the year, in the middle of March, April, when it was also dropping. So here we are, and yes, it's trading twice as high as it was trading just last week. So it means that, in simple words, to put it simply, investors are really, really worried, and they don't really know what to expect, where to go, where to move their assets, and yeah, I mean, like it's a lot of uncertainty now. Among these, Mr. Sys Drive says, sir, I'm interested to see your trade analysis if you want to show us. Well, yes, pretty much what I'm talking about is fundamental analysis today. So fundamental combined with technical analysis today. And so yes, here we are examining charts, so various charts, and I share my opinion. I will not really be opening that many trades today, I think, because well, it's not really the main topic of my today's session. I just want to share this. Okay, so usually on Mondays, every Monday we have this kind of like introductory webinar to the markets, to what's going on in the markets. But of course, I mean, I share my opinion, and based on this opinion, you can also open some trades. But my goal today in these extreme conditions, so probably it's the most extreme opening of the week in the past, well, definitely 2 or even 3 years, because we are, I mean, like these 3 days, they do not even compare to what was happening in the middle of April. So in April we had we also had this drop, like relative drop, and everyone was expecting that, all right, now this healthy correction which was needed, and that healthy correction ended, and the market went from 17,000 up to almost 21,000 on the Nasdaq index. And then what is happening right now, I cannot really call this a healthy correction. This simply is a market crash. And as you can see, so let's go to futures. So Nasdaq minus 5%, probably the biggest crash in the recent history, of course. Dow Jones minus 2.7%, but of course the leaders who are plummeting are, of course, Nvidia, Apple. Apple is losing 10% on pre-market, things of that nature. So yes, we have a lot of negativity on the markets, and the markets are very, very toxic. And in this case, I don't even know what to do with them. So if you are a long or a forex trader, then maybe today you wanna kind of wait from a side and see what happens. But of course, we have come very close to a significant level of support here on the what is it? It's the Nasdaq index, right? So close to 17,000, as you can see. Well, first of all, the support lies here. All right, here it is. So resistance, resistance, support, support. So the so-called role reversal pattern, when support and resistance, they trade places, and they resistance becomes support becomes resistance, and resistance becomes support. So in this case, resistance turned into support, and it might act as a support for Nasdaq, and Nasdaq might bounce off of this level 17,000. So we'll see how this story unfolds. I've noticed today, I noticed a very interesting pattern on Nasdaq. So as you can see, we there was this. Okay, let me draw this. Okay, so I just need a trend line. Here it is, one trend line, two trend line. So the pattern is this. Bitcoin was on the Nasdaq was on the rise. Then we saw this multiple top formation, so triple top. Each next top was lower than the previous one. So this one was the highest one, lower, and then we saw this very nice breakout. So why I was so sure that Bitcoin has a lot of potential for the rise, for a breakout above higher than 70,000. Well, I really persuaded maybe myself in this idea. I really bought into my own idea that that was the same pattern. And in fact, I would say that this pattern is similar. I just didn't take into consideration the overall fundamental factors and that the situation is different now than it was from what it was on the Nasdaq index, and that was when that was in 2000. Let's see, 2023, late October. So yeah, November. Yeah, so that was mid-summer fall of 2023. So I thought that we might see the same pattern with Bitcoin, but I didn't really take into consideration that the overall situation was different in terms of there was a much different things were unfolding amidst a very different news surrounding. So the current sentiment on the market and in the world is really, really negative, and it seems that we have areas of uncertainty, a lot of conflicts and problems with debt pretty much everywhere, and this, of course, is heavily affecting what is happening right now with Bitcoin and others. And that's why I sort of looked and I thought, wow, finally this breakout is about to happen, is about to take place, because we went up, down, up, down, up, down. So this amplitude was just growing, and I thought that was the final required amount of power, of strength that Bitcoin was badly needing. And on that news, I thought that we'll be able to breach the 70,000 level. But nope, that did not happen. And so those who were or still might be shorting or holding their short sell positions, they are basically the winners in this situation, because they have probably profited quite a lot, quite significant amounts of money, I would say, because really it's from 70 to 50 with multipliers. That potentially could be like plus probably 400%, 500% with a very, very, very low risk. So the so-called risk-reward ratio, which I constantly talk about, so basically, yes, plays out in their favor. Now, let's have a look what's happening with Apple. So Apple dropping by 10%. So we closed with 220. Now we are trading below 200. Show your live trades, not just Bitcoin. Well, guys, join our streams regularly, and we show our trades all the time. So this webinar on Monday is dedicated to fundamental analysis and the overall outlook on the market. So we just do it. We just do trading basically 90% of the time. And today's topic is markets, because I want to give you, and us as a company, we want to give you more understanding about what's going on, what's happening with markets, and because yes, that is also very important to understand what's happening on the markets and to be able to trade. Okay, here is this USD/JPY, because we also have forex mode available on our platform, and you can apply this mode of trading to your trades. And actually, I mean, just look at this. So if you if you shorted maybe the yen at 161, then potentially you could make like, I don't even know, like plus, you could have multiplied your amount by 60 times. For example, this double top formation. Well, of course, I'm not saying that it is always easy to make such forecasts to predict where prices will move next, etc. But with some experience, you have more and more accuracy, and your trading skills, they improve, they grow, and basically they take you to even higher leagues of trading. Right. So USD/JPY, very interesting story, because I was talking every Monday about this asset, and that it seems that the Bank of Japan, or the Central Bank of Japan, finally entered this game, and they started intervening. And with their interventions, we are now, so we dropped from 161, so 162 down to 142. So that is almost 15%. That is huge for a currency, for any stable currency like the yen and the United States dollar. They are both relatively strong currencies backed by strong economies, the top 1 and top 3 economies in the world, of course. So that is why this drop is significant. And of course, this is, well, I would say relatively good for Japan, because the Japanese yen last year, it had devaluated by almost 50% from 110 and down, and all the way up to 161 or something, so 115, 110, and down to or up to 150, 160, and then in just, well, I mean, like, it all happened in less than a month. Pretty amazing. I mean, like, what's happening now with the markets is pretty amazing today, and not just today, but I mean, this July is probably going to be this historical month for July and August probably are going to be so this reminds me July, August of 2011, when I just started trading, or maybe it was 2012, I think. No, 2011, when also the U.S. markets, they dropped. I mean, we can probably, maybe we can roll back some time. Maybe not. Okay. So can't. All right. Well. Anyways, that's a lot of information, a lot of search. All right. So what else shall we talk about? I mean, right now everything seems to be dropping, and in such situations, it's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen next with the markets. As I said, that's a very big correction, and I expect that we might bounce off a little bit of these levels, maybe today, tomorrow, but overall, the overall trends are still negative. And as you can see, markets are almost in free fall, especially stocks and cryptos, so most heavily affected. And yes, so Nvidia closed on Friday with 107. Now we opened at 92, which is very, very low. That's more than 10% drop, and so Bitcoin is still fighting for 50,000. But given this pressure, I mean, to be honest, I don't see that. I don't see it standing a chance against the sellers' pressure. And now we are also trading below this inclined level of resistance, and it will be very difficult for Bitcoin to climb back. But we'll see. For those who have bullish positions on the markets, of course, I wish you good luck. And for those who have bearish positions on the markets, I also wish good luck. And usually the best strategy on the markets is to sort of sit somewhere aside and to observe who is winning, which side is winning, whether be it bears or be it bulls, and based on that, so observe who is winning, which army is stronger, and then eventually join that army, join the winner. And like in this case, it is obviously so currently it is the biggest, the best bearish win on Bitcoin and on overall cryptos in the past years. So we saw a pretty strong drop of almost 10,000. That was back in March, on the 4th of March, exactly 6 months ago, when Bitcoin first reached to its previous all-time high of 69,000. So that was an immediate correction. Then immediately the next day it went from 61 up to 67, and then we saw this its rise towards 73.6 thousand, which so far is 73.8 or something, so close to that, slightly below 74,000. That is the biggest, the highest, the current all-time high. So someone who bought at 73.8 will probably be is probably still holding, as they say, this position, and I would not be surprised if that person is really, really anxious and is like really waiting for Bitcoin prices to recover. Now let's see. Let's go and see stocks. What is happening with stocks? So we can select stocks. Nvidia, yes, dramatic drop. Visa, okay, so we are rebounding a little bit. Okay, Tesla still closed. Netflix, again, minus 3%. Microsoft minus, okay, so Microsoft looks relatively stronger. So Boeing, again, down by 3%. So the biggest losers so far are Nvidia. Wow, finally all stocks are open for trading. Nvidia is rebounding. Visa, all right, so the biggest losers so far are financials, Morgan Stanley, Amazon, yeah, after its poor earnings result. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, yes, so these companies are, wow. All right, so let me see, 4 hours. All right, so my dear friends, I wish you all a wonderful trading week ahead. Please do join our webinars on this channel. We conduct webinars on this channel every day now. All of them are broadcast here, just in different languages, in various languages. So we have languages varying from Indonesian, Hindi, Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Thai, and also English. So just check the schedule on the main page, and you can also click the notify me button, and then you will be notified and you will never miss our streams. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.